Hi, my name is Pato, and welcome to my channel.
Welcome to False 10 Maestro.
Now, I've been playing eFootball for a while, since its inception. Even long before that, when it was still called PES. PES 5 was the first game, I believe, when John Terry and Thierry Henry were on the cover. So yeah, I've been around this game all along. But I've always enjoyed it, right? I've always wanted PES to win, because I just thought it was simply the better football game, in my experience. Now, of course, as time has been going on, FIFA, now FC, have been doing well, but it's not fun anymore. And I can tell a lot of you are feeling the same way. I've been watching a couple of content creators like Nick Run the Foot Market, Inception, and even A9 Skills. They're all playing eFootball now, and it looks like they're enjoying it. And a lot of their fan base are coming over to play the game as well, which is great. Like, I love this for Konami. And one big thing I noticed is a lot of players coming in just don't know what is happening, which is fine. It's a new football game, great. And that's why I'm here to help. I would say is, do not treat eFootball like FC. It is a completely different game rewarding different things. I just want to show you guys the basics of player progression, team building, and just what the game entails. If you love football in general, soccer, depending on where you are in the world, you are going to love eFootball, regardless.
All right, so this is the main menu screen for eFootball. Now, it does look kind of underwhelming, to be honest, but you know, it is what it is. So this is the main menu area, and over here, these are the highlights of what content is currently in the game. So, you know, you scroll by, you can see what Konami is offering here with their specials, and yeah, that's pretty much it. Apparently this updates every 3 days, if I'm not mistaken, just like Legends and Special Players, but we'll get into that later. But first of all, this is where you play your matches, this is where you see your team, this is pretty much where you sign players, and these are like the little missions that eFootball give you. And these are your daily games where you can win special tokens and sometimes players, but you have to take like a penalty kick every day, right? Then we have the shop where you can buy eFootball coins and eFootball points and GP, but I've actually never used this. I don't think it, oh no, I lie, I have used it. So like on the top right is the GP, and that's the points you accumulate within the game. Honestly, I don't have much use for it, so I just buy these random things that they offer. Yep, that's that. The eFootball points are, honestly, these seem very hard to get, but Konami have such a great chance to put so many things into this. Like, for example, this items tab, they only have, you know, these tokens that you could get, but it's so hard to get these points that I wouldn't want to spend 5,000 to get only one 4,000 token coin. Like, that's not worth it. And again, I'll explain what these are later, but these are very vital to upgrading a player. But sometimes Konami offer you special players. I don't think there's anything big about them, but you know, it's a player nonetheless. But right now I can get these two, or one of these two players with the amount I have on the top right. And this is just another thing that they offer as well. A Oyarzabal card. Yep, that's that. The academy section, this is where I recommend people go into the beginning just to learn how to play the game. There's like a quick little tutorial on how to do everything, and you know, you get free cards, especially those who want to have a free to play account. But yeah, as you go along, you're learning the game, but you're also getting tokens and stuff, which is going to be very beneficial for you upgrading your players. Training, this is where you get to pick or get to practice. So usually what I do is, if I want to play a certain formation, I'll take my team, which is the dream team, and I'll take them into the field and get to practice corners, penalty kicks, free training. And with the free training tab for example, you can click there, and yep, then you'll have the training. Pretty much, you know, you can do whatever you want. And then on the top left, as you can see, you can then see all these instructions and certain other things that you might not have noticed, like more advanced stuff to kind of like elevate your game. But again, baby steps at a time, but they have so many different things you can practice by yourself. You know, if you want to manually change your goalkeeper, defense, all this stuff, right? And try and go to move that. So, you know, you freely play, whatever. And again, now this is a great thing to test your shape, see how far players are going, see how far wing backs are moving, right? Then with that too, you can also do settings and training settings. And over here, you can put the level that you want of whoever you want to play, or I guess the AI. So, for example, top player, and you can put, like, let's say 6 players, you know, that you want to play against, and change these settings to accommodate you. And then pretty much you see at the bottom of the radar the players running on, and now you're playing 6 players. So this is great to see the ball movement and how people defend against you and whatnot, you know, see who pulls up, all that. Great learning tool, you know, but we'll get more into why this is such a good thing later. All right, so I think we should do step by step. So I'll do the most important thing first, and which is talking about your team. All right, so this pink thing here, click that. This takes you to this menu, right? The game plan, how you can edit your game, the players that you have, the kits, and the stadium. I should really do this, but I don't. It's kind of, it is what it is. Now let's do game plan. All right, so the thing I love about eFootball is that the team or the cards that you collect are yours forever, right? That is one great thing that you need to understand about this game. So here is the team menu, clipboard, whatever you want to call it, and this is where you see your team, right? So we'll start off with the manager, which is, I think, one of the most important things that people take for granted in this game. Now, the manager, as you can see, I have Thomas Tuchel, but you can change your managers in this menu. You have all these different managers that I have collected. So, for example, like this guy is Diego Simeone, and the reason you know that is because it's Atletico Madrid. Of course, you can't tell because the license issues, but Argentine, age 55, long ball counter. That's how he plays. Then, for example, this would be Carlo Ancelotti, who's the current manager of Brazil, and Italian, age 66, right? This right here is Pep Guardiola, when I had signed him. But of course didn't have the license with Manchester City, so they don't have his picture. While as this was when he was coaching Bayern, and the time they had the Bayern licensing, so that's why his picture remained, but the badge, as you can see, has changed. It's not Bayern anymore, but look at that. So that's when he was 43, and this is currently at him 51. Now, as you can see, his stats are different compared to his old card. So this is Pep Guardiola in 13-14. See at the bottom of the card there. And that's what I love about it. It's because what eFootball does is that it captures a moment of time that this coach or player was. So again, here we go, Thomas Tuchel, right? That's his style over here, just his standard base card. But with that new update that now that they have a licensing with, he's now over here, right? And now he's got improved stats, possession, quick counter. Now, the thing with managers is you need to definitely look at their play style, because if you're someone who loves possession, you will probably pick someone who has a high possession skill. And I believe this is the first time ever where the managers have ratings over 90. So usually they're always set at 89. So this is Thomas Tuchel. I'm using him because I love possession style game. And so what that does is where you say team play style, this is where you can see how you want to play specifically. Like if you love to quick counter, if you like to do long ball counters, play out wide, stretch opposition, or just play old school football where you're hitting it long, this is where you pick your choice, right? But you have to look on the right hand side under collective strength. Now you see Thomas Tuchel for long balls 58, so he's not the coach to do that, right? So if I click long ball, now look at my players ratings, right? They've dropped down. Yeah, can you see now? Like Eto's now 99, Park Ji-sung 95, O'Shea 97, right? But if I go play to his strengths, now the players are stronger, right? That's what I love about that. It's just depending on who you have, will elevate your players, right? Next up, formation. I mean, that's just where you pick formation. But the nice thing with PES is, regardless of what you pick, you can always move players around, right? So you can move them like this and that. You can move them as close, but the problem is too close, they could be on top of each other. Too wide, it could be harder for them to reach the ball. So you just have to play that, how you want to yourself, right? So the nice thing too is with this formation thing, as you can see, the area green, that's where you can see where they best play, right? So like Eto, for example, he could play anywhere up here, down there. That's his strongest position. And this other slight green is like he can play there, but he's not his strongest. So his strongest is where it's going to be like the thicker, brighter green. Individual instructions. So with eFootball, you get two attacking and two defensive instructions that you could use. So this, for example, is if you want the defender not to go forward, or I guess a single player, because you could give it to anyone in your team if you don't want them to push forward. This is for players you want to get high on the pitch, so ideally the defenders and midfielders, forcing them to go up. Anchoring is more so that they could stay in a central position, and this is good if you want to stretch the opposition. You can give it to a wide player, right? So if I give it to Eto, he'll stay out wide, versus if I give it to Xavi, he'll stay more central. And I love that because that's the flexibility of this game, is that regardless of where you put them, other players are going to have to adapt, and then it changes just the game by itself. Sometimes it could shoot you in the foot, or it could be an advantage to you. Same thing with the defense. Now these are blacked out right now because you can only access them during the game, right? So for example, just read up there when you want to use that. This is more for man marking a player, but the only problem is that it will create gaps because the player will follow them, and if the opposition or whoever you're playing decides to move this player on the left wing and he's starting on the right, now their defender is going to go all the way that side and draw a whole big gap where your defensive player was. So just keep that in mind. Counter target is where the player will stay towards the box, right? So just like how Messi plays nowadays, where he's just floating around there. This is good because it doesn't waste their energy. So I kind of use it sometimes for the older players. And this is where would drop back. So like, for example, if I want Eto to drop back, this would be a good instruction for him to be on. Sub-tactic, we don't have to get into that now. I'll get into that later if you want. Then in match roles is where you pick your captains, corner kick takers, and this right here is where you can have your players join the corner. Now be careful because it will leave you open at the back. eFootball will need to create some sort of thing where you can put players back for corners. Like for example, I have Roberto Carlos back if I could, but as of now, it is risky. But it could also help if you have strong players like Saliba and Marquinhos, who are very good in the air. Automatic match support. This is just for, if you don't really want to be focused on subs, because players get tired. This is a realistic game. Players will get tired, right? So what you can do, subs, you can have very late, flexible, very early. So the game will pretty much do it for you, but again, you will have no say in it. The game will say, all right, this is a player we need, they'll put him in. So for example, like if it's very late, Roberto Carlos is tired, the game will sub him. If a player is not playing well, they'll sub him. And how you can tell, if I press square, it says live update, this is how the current players are playing currently. Now, most of the epic cards, which are like the green cards, are B and up, while, I think Raya and Marquinhos are A's because they just played in the Champions League final, so they get rewarded for that, right? Versus, let's say I go out and I look at these players, like England players currently, because the World Cup hasn't started, are currently sitting at a C, right? Which I believe is a baseline, but I don't want to give you the wrong information. But yep, that's that. So run back to where we were. Yep, and then offside trap, tag defense. These are more advanced stuff that we can look at later. Change your squad number. Base team settings is just like what you want your kit to look like, pretty much. So like you have all these countries, nations, and continents over here. For example, English League, you can pick Manchester United, Liverpool, and then the team that you have will have that kit pretty much, and the logo of that team. Gameplay list, this is where you can save your tactics. So for me, I love playing around with different tactics. So I have like Liverpool gameplay, I have like Pep's 019, Tuchel, 09 Barca, I'm trying to create that, Ancelotti's. So yeah, I love playing around with different tactics, game plans. Here's the substitutes, so this is where you can sub the players in. Oops, went out there. Reserves, this is where your whole team is, and this is where you can find everybody. Over here is how you sort the players out, right? So if you want to filter, that's this, you can do this, and choose how you want to organize this. So a couple of creators, they didn't know where the newly signed players were, so what you could do is you could sort it, and what I do is order by signing. So this is who the latest player that I signed will be at the top over here. So this is currently who's on my reserves waiting. Yeah, and I've been playing this game for a while, so I've got quite a decent collection. I don't have like the crazy cards because this game does spend money, and I do try to spend as little as I can. But yeah, I really do enjoy this game. See, I have this Beckham card, and I'll get into players in probably another video, or I'll make it a long one. We'll see, still deciding. And yeah, so that is the team menu. Let me know if you have any questions, and I'll probably see you at the next video.
Don't forget to subscribe and like the video. Become a maestro.